music. You are now entering a parallel universe.
And wipe your feet on the way in.
Marc Riley, BBC Six Music.
You haven't seen the bloody trail yet.
Yeah, all that. And I tell you what, now you mention it, it's like a white knuckle ride broadcasting with Rob Hughes, because you never know what he's going to say next.
No, I was going to say that, but
Oh.
you would have never known that, would you?
No, Danielle Dax, white knuckle ride, Marc
Yeah.
Riley, Bob Hughes, parallel universe,
and
naturally.
I'm going to play that for Glenn. All right, so we'll look at The Enemy, 1st of October 1988, Mark.
Nice.
In the news, Paul McCartney picked up a special award in London last week, marking 5 million TV and radio broadcasts of yesterday. The 5 million plays represent a total running time of 28 years.
Oh, no.
Really? Guests at the BMI Awards luncheon were told yesterday is a good 3 million ahead of the rest of the pack, but 4 songs have topped up 2 million plays. Imagine by John Lennon, Here Comes the Sun, George Harrison, Tony Hatch's Call Me, and Morning is Broken by Cat Stevens. Bit of a surprise.
Morning is broken. That's a maudlin thing,
It
that,
is,
isn't it?
yeah. It's
Blimey.
not great at all. Obviously a big radio hit. Also in the news, Tom Waits' concert movie Big Time will be released in the UK on Friday following a premiere at the Edinburgh Film Festival. The film, recorded in California last year, features songs from Waits' 3 Island albums, Swordfish Trombones, Rain Dogs and Frank's Wild Years. Soundtrack album and single released this week, more of which in a bit.
Right.
Have you seen that film?
No.
No, me neither. Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, U2 and Brian Wilson are featured on a new CBS album recorded as a tribute to Woody Guthrie and Leadbelly. The album A Vision Shared is also a tribute to the Folkways label both artists recorded for. Last year, the Smithsonian Institute in Washington acquired the entire archives of Folkways, more than 2,000 albums, and the album has been compiled to help fund the staffing and operations of the Institute. Little Richard's on it too, Fishbone, Willie Nelson, Emmylou Harris, Taj Mahal, Pete Seeger, of course. I just want to mention Folkways in passing because it's such an important label. It was started by a guy called Mo Ash, and he started Folkways obviously as a repository for emerging folk music and an archive too. But now you can go on the website and they've got lots of free digital downloads and the like.
Cool.
It's a really good thing. Tour news, Run DMC have added 4 extra dates to their forthcoming UK tour in the company of Public Enemy, Derek B and Pop Will Eat Itself. New dates, London Brixton Academy, Birmingham Hummingbird, Leeds University and Manchester Apollo. Didn't you see that tour?
What's the full bill?
So Run DMC and Public Enemy with Derek B and Pop Will Eat Itself?
I didn't see Pop Will Eat
Okay.
Itself. No, I mean, it's a weird one because I saw a couple of the tours which did have, in and amongst all of them, the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J,
Yeah.
and Eric B and Rakim, I think.
Okay, right.
So, but yeah, I don't remember seeing Pop Will Eat Itself at any of them.
Oh, right, okay. Seems to be a strange one on the bill. Really quite fit.
Right, okay.
I
yeah.
guess you saw the Def Jam tour, wouldn't you? That was probably one of yours. Sieg Sieg Sputnik are scouring London for a location for their comeback gig. We've already been barred by one of the capital's major venues. A venue in question, which is asked not to be named, refused to stage the show and sent the promoters who approached them packing. He said, "We don't want that crap in here. We think they're useless," said an aide in the North London club, which hasn't been named.
You see, I like that because, I mean, it's normally because, like, we know bands like Mott the Hoople and Slade got banned from the Royal Albert Hall or wherever for the fans ripping the seats up and
Unruliness,
everything.
yeah.
You know, and you can kind of understand that, but just banning somebody because you think they're crap is... Yeah, I love it.
It's very refreshing.
And it's not great for business, really, is it? It's
Not
like,
really.
you know, you've got to audition before you can play at a club, but I do like the principle very much.
He carried on and said, "It's not that we have a strict policy about what we put on, but there are a few things we take exception to. We don't want the Sputnik fans or their music here. It will lower the tone."
Right.
Even worse, the spokesman for the group declined to comment on the band, but said, "I'm sure the band themselves will have something to say about this in due course." Also in the news, Halfway to Paradise, a new TV series co-produced by former Enemy media editor Stuart Cosgrove, hits the small screen this autumn. I don't remember this.
No,
Do you?
nor me.
With a manifesto to prove there's life beyond London. An 8-week affair, the show will be networked from Glasgow via Channel 4 and will embrace music, comedy, sport and popular culture in an effort to illuminate how the other Britain lives. It'll include location reports from around Scotland, Ireland and the north of England, but it takes its name from the studio's location, Black Cat Studios, which lies in the shadow of Celtic's football ground Parkhead, known traditionally as Paradise to the locals, which I didn't know.
Right, okay.
I just thought you might have remembered. I think I did a bit of research here because obviously I didn't see it.
Right.
But it lasted for a couple of seasons, I think. It lasted until 1994. Stuart Cosgrove ended up being head of programme at Channel 4, I think. for a
Right,
while, didn't
okay,
he?
yeah, big player, yeah.
And singles of the week got Robert Lloyd and the new Four Seasons. It doesn't say who's reviewed it, but it says something nice. Said the King of Birmingham returns with coal in his pocket, bananas down his pants, and Brill cream in his hair. Something Nice is an addictive single jam packed with lyrics, brass organs, and harps that you'd want to keep forever in separate jars. Lloyd has had a good listen to what's important to him and written the classic post-Motown, post-Nightingale song we could all do with right now. Something Nice bathes the worries of a midlife crisis in a stream of up-tempo and undulating brilliance. It could be a sitcom soundtrack, and it should be a hit by James Brown.
It's a great tune. It was on our label, that,
I was going to say it's on the Intape, yeah.
Yeah, most certainly, and well, look forward to hearing it. It's a great record, still sounds brilliantly produced, and yeah, top flight. That is Robert Lloyd and the new Four Seasons and Something Nice.
Wonderful. So look at the Enemy here, 1st of October 1988, on the page 25. Enemy cassette offer. This is your last chance to acquire the Enemy's highly acclaimed New Country / World Music / Peel Session tapes. So the New Country one is the tape with no name, featuring Dwight Yoakam, Steve Earle, Roseanne Cash, John Hyatt, Patti Loveless, etc., all for £2.99 a bargain. Easy to overlook how influential that was, wasn't it? Because we've talked about this before, about Mekon's sort of embracing country music in the mid-80s, Elvis Costello doing it almost blue, but the kind of Enemy tape with no name thing was a pretty big deal, because country music was still seen as something that a lot of people couldn't get, well, hip to, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I've said before, I had the vinyl of it and used to play it all the time.
Yeah, it's a great compilation. Fred Fact, this is Fred Deller, of course. Paul Jackson of New Maiden in Surrey says, what's the biggest amount of money a collector has paid for a record? He says, I grabbed my copy of the Guinness Book of Records, hoping for an easy way out of this, but couldn't find an answer. However, working from memory, I'd take a guess at the record pulling the most money could be Jean-Michel Jarre's Music for Supermarkets album, which was sold by auction in Paris in 1983, falling to a bid of $10,000. Only one copy of the album was ever pressed, after which the master was destroyed. The theory being that it would remain unique as a piece of music. So as we know, I mean, $10,000, it's a pittance now, isn't it?
Yeah, that money flies out the door all the time now for stuff, doesn't it? But it's obviously just with the passage of time.
Yeah, I was trying to think what the modern example. I know that Ringo's 0001 copy of the White Album sold for, was it $800,000 a few years ago? I wonder if that was it.
Well, you can't imagine that there'd be anything more valuable than that, would there?
Well, Bob Dylan sold, didn't he do what was it, Blowing in the Wind earlier this year? Was it 1.8 million or something?
Blimey, Charlie, right, anyway. Okay, I've not kept an eye on that, obviously.
Our feature here on Steve Winwood, played 21. Winwood has been having hits for 24 years, ever since the Spencer Davis Group squeezed into the British Top 50 in 1964. From the group, he moved on to further success with Traffic, Blind Faith, and eventually as a solo artist. After the massive commercial success and the slew of Grammys that greeted Back in the High Life in 1986, he's back in the charts now with Roll With It. Amazingly, he seemed to have been around forever, but he's only about 40 at this point.
Yeah, and is that the album, has it got Valerie on it?
I think Valerie's on Back in the High Life. I think it is. But he gets interviewed here by Alan Jackson. There's too much to go into, but he does say to him, you achieved enormous success as a teenager with Spencer Davis, almost a black country equivalent to the Michael Jackson story. And Winwood says, I've probably become much more adjusted in the past 10 years than I was before. If your career starts happening to you at age 15 or 16, it takes something away from you, which unless you're very careful, you never get back. You lose a kind of stability, and you also miss out on learning how to do things for yourself.
Well, he famously called it the Spencer Davis Group just to take the attention away from him, didn't he?
Well, he was a star, of course he was, yeah. He was a singer, 16 years old, all the rest of it. Various albums coming out, including, well, Gavin Martin gives Randy Newman's Land of Dreams 10 out of 10.
Right.
For a songwriter, he says he makes a great screenwriter, creating more valid characters per album than most Hollywood bores manage in a lifetime. I'd be hard pushed to think of anything in the music world that is so fully realised, so empathetic and so useful, and so nakedly honest as a good Randy Newman album. And Sean O'Hagan reviews Tender Prey by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which is a piece of work.
Absolutely.
Should we have it?
What do you want to play then?
Oh, we're playing... Oh, no, we're not playing... Are we playing Deanna?
No, we're playing the Mekons, aren't we?
Of course we are.
Right, okie dokie. The Mekons then. Sally Timms at the helm. That is the Mekons and Ghosts of American Astronauts. Mark Riley, Bobby Hughes, Parallel Universe.
Yeah, Enemy, 1st of October 1988. On the live front, you've got Michael Clarke and Company versus The Fall. I Am Curious Orange at Sadler's Wells by Sean O'Hagan. He says, liberated from the constraints of a theoretical analysis, I abandoned myself to the chaos on stage. Zen-like, I merged into a state of complete oneness with the noise, the movement, and the sight of Lee Bowery dressed as a tin of Heinz beans.
Right.
I hoped I wasn't the only one totally mystified by the events up there as Michael and his troop of troopers moved from set piece to set piece. Orange and green chiffon tutus, pink frills and feathers, black and white body stockings, all draped around various people. Marc Smith sat on a giant letter O, while Bricks pranced and preened, and in a swimsuit perched on a giant Big Mac, almost upstaged Lee Bowery's bean tin. After a while, the semi-choreographed shenanigans on stage took a severe drubbing at the hands of the sonic assault coming from the amps. This was the fall in a new context, innovatory, exciting, iconoclastic, all the adjectives you'd heard applied to Michael Clarke himself.
Right.
It was an inspired collaboration, wasn't it?
I saw the OK Whistle test, but I didn't see the actual production itself.
Gigs this week, got Run DMC and Public Enemy, as mentioned before, at Newport Leisure Centre. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Henry Rollins at the Town and Country. Wedding Present at Manchester Ritz. Fetus in what is billed as the first and last live appearance in the UK at London's Town and Country. Did he never play live much?
No, I never saw him playing live in Manchester anyway, put it that way.
What a shame. Frank Sidebottom at Manchester Cheetham Hill Irish Centre. Shaq at Manchester Green Room. Ted Chippington at the Old Vic Tavern in Nottingham. Dana Gillespie at the Joiners Arms in Southampton. Carleen Carter at the Yorkshire Post Zap Club in York. My Bloody Valentine at Sheffield University. James and Happy Mondays at Liverpool Poly. Wire at Manchester University. You've got the Mekons at Nottingham Old Vic. Quentin Crisp at Alhambra Studio in Bradford. Oh,
excellent.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Hawkwind at Buckley Tivoli. Other things going on. I've got to mention Public Enemy here, because Chris Seavey, a.k.a. Frank Sidebottom, approached Marc Smith at a wedding in Manchester of late, told him rather smugly that he was going to do a cover version of Hit the North. Saffron Pryor, who runs the Cog Sinister label with Smith, snarled and said, you mean you think you're going to do a cover version? Whether it will appear, we'll wait to see. Well, of course he did, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And you can watch it on YouTube, I think with the late Paul Ryder as well. And David Soul in it on keyboards, I think.
Really? I mean, I know David Soul appeared on Frank's TV programme, didn't he?
Yeah, that's probably it. Also in related news, in an attempt to scare the pants off the opposition, Altrincham FC have taken to playing a Frank Sidebottom record before every game. It's called The Robins Aren't Bobbins and reduces the away team to quivering wrecks every time, it says here.
Well, I used to go and see the Robins whilst Frank was the mascot, and he used to get on the pitch with them and all that, as mascots do, but he did get sent off once for berating the opposition goalkeeper. So whilst the match was taking place, he ran on the pitch and started telling him off and wagging his finger at him. And he got a proper red card and got sent off for it.
Oh,
and he used to do all that, these famous songs, You're Going Home in an Organised Football Coach.
Brilliant. It was inspired. Just brilliant.
Yeah, genius.
Just the kits themselves. And I know I just kind of jumped the gun a little bit earlier, but Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds' Tender Prey, described here as, tales of unrequited love, religious torment, biblical guilt, and a veiled sense of self-loathing all converge on the shoulders of a cast of characters who act as extensions of the singer. Also careful to mention the fact it's not just Nick Cave, of course, it's the Bad Seeds, including Congo Powers and Blixer, of course. It was such a powerful band.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so, yeah.
I was to say, the Bad Seeds mutated into an urban swampland blues band, all funereal darkness and rolling out of kilter sway. They saw and thrash around Cave's non-voice like a mad convergence of Berlin metal and Bayou stomp. Keith Congo Powers playing Keef to Blixer Bargel's utterly unique primitivism, as you like it.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. Okay, so we are going to go to Deanna by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds now. I need to say thanks to everybody involved in the programme, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks for listening. Ta-ta!
Prepare to exit the parallel universe.
Marc Riley, BBC Six Music.
And shut the door on your way out.